Chairman of today's occasion, the Vice Chancellor of Abuja University, Professor Muya Odo Dairo, to the Vice Presidents of our institutes, Professor Ntobo Ngulu and Zega, the Secretary Secretary, Professor Laika Mtambo, and esteemed colleagues, the Executive Council of the Institute, distinguished chairman, members of the Tenders Board, let me recognize the management team of Yale University, the chairman and members of the Finance and General Purpose Committee of the Institute, the chairman and members of the Headquarters Management Board. I'd like to recognize as well the chairman, members of the Headquarters Management Board, and of course the project team of the Institute. I'd like to recognize the Institute's patrons and matrons. I'd like to recognize everyone here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I find it a great pleasure on behalf of the Pan-African Institute to welcome you to the University of Uyo. Before I continue, I'd like also to welcome our forum and local, in the sense of just being local. Honorary talents, a foreign, national delight, contractors who are also here. On behalf of the Pan-African Dialogue Institute, especially the Executive Council, welcome you to the University of Uyo, Nigeria, where our institute is domiciled and the proposed Pan-African City projects located. We are deeply grateful to God Almighty for bringing you safely to join us in today's occasion, and appreciate your demonstrated commitment to the Pan-African City projects. This project is an ambitious and transformative development initiative of the Executive Council of our Institute. Our Institute is a registered African-led think tank of African academics, professionals, students, civil society actors, and grassroots leaders across Africa and the diaspora. At this point, I'd like to say that the Institute has membership cutting across 26 African countries by now. Domiciled here at the University of Uyo, Nigeria, this flagship project seeks to build a state-of-the-art, multifunctional complex to serve as the international headquarters of the Institute, the Pan-African Dialogue Institute, and a vibrant park for education, for culture, for diplomacy, innovation, and community development. University of Uyo is the international headquarters of this institute. It was contested and almost went to Kenyatta University in Kenya, but because of some factors, University of Uyo was allowed to host the international headquarters of this institute. A modern, sustainable urban design that integrates academic excellence with economic empowerment and cultural renaissance. Let me give us a project brief, just a brief. The location is here in the University of Uyo. and the duration of the construction is estimated to be between now, this year, 2025, so the next 5 years, it will be completed and it will be commissioned possibly and decided by the Chairman and President of the African Union Commission in Addis Ababa. The funding target is multi-source, private partnerships, development grants, philanthropic investments, and diaspora contributions. The prime consultant for these activities is Afro-Miles Engineering Construction Limited. Here, present as the MD is present here, Engineer Dr. Bobby Johnson. The rationale behind this project: Africa's developmental challenges require African-centered solutions that are knowledge-driven, research-based, community-led, and globally connected. However, we have abundant human resources, but there is a critical lack of infrastructure dedicated to uniting local and continental scholars, leaders, students, and practitioners for the purpose of policy dialogue, project innovation, and civic engagement. The Pan-African city will address this gap. Our immediate hosts, the University of Uyo, for instance, spend several millions of naira monthly to accommodate its guests in hotels outside the campuses. This is because there is no befitting hospitality facility within the campuses of the university. Again, nearly all staff of the university rent apartments in nearby towns and cities and travel to work from different locations to the university because there is not a single staff housing on campus. So, in addition to housing Tipadi's international headquarters, the Pan-African city will address the housing needs of thousands of staff in this university. Broadly envisioned, the city will promote Pan-African education, policy formulation and development, project development and implementation. It will promote economic empowerment through entrepreneurship and skills training. It will promote healthcare, housing, and ICT access. And it will promote youth development and cultural revitalization. Let me inform us about the key components of this city. The Pan-African city will consist of the following interconnected facilities. Number one, the International Secretariat. These secretariats will house a 1,000-seater capacity conference hall and 54 country research halls, staff offices, lecture theaters, seminar rooms, e-learning centers, a library open to global researchers and global students on Pan-Africanism, as well as a museum gallery suitable for transformative education in Pan-Africanism. The United Nations and African Union related consultations and policy formulation and advocacy for the project's development. The contracts for the building of this international secretariat has already been awarded to a foreign and Chinese contractor whose MD is already here. Number two, it will have, the complex will have a 5-town luxury hotel and hospitality center. It will be a 150 rooms of different sizes. And of course, it's going to be high-rise to host local and international visitors, diplomats, researchers, business leaders, and tourists to Nigeria and our part of state. The contract for a 5-star, 150-room hotel has been awarded also to Sanshi Engineering Company Limited of China. It will also have number 3, the diplomatic quarters and mini housing express, residential solutions for university and institutes, faculty, visiting scholars, diplomats, and administrative personnel. Number 4, it will house student hostel, executive student hostel, and an entrepreneurial training center, supporting youth development and innovation through incubation spaces and mentorship. Number 5, it will house, the complex will house notebook halls and cultural facilities, film and creative art spaces that celebrate Africa's cultural industries. So there will be no need for, Nollywood actors to be coming together. They will have a base in the University of New York. Number 6, it will have Museum and Pan-African History Gallery. Number 7, it will have Hospital and Wellness Center. Number 8, it will have sporting and recreational facilities. Number 9, there will also be demonstration schools from grade to secondary schools to serve the educational needs of the residents, not only the residents of the surrounding communities. Number 10, it will have the press information center, where we have the Pan-African radio station will be there, and then the television station will also be there, and then modern printing press. Number 11, it will also find in that complex a shopping mall and small business markets, economic zones to support trade, self-reliance, and community integration. And of course, we also have a community pavilion and public spaces for example, informal dialogue, artistic exhibitions, and festivals of all kinds. Now, let me, as I kind of like to talk about sustainability and legacy of these projects. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the role of the tenants that the chairman is about to inaugurate. The project will be about eco-friendly building practices, renewable energy systems, and local resource utilization. It will offer job creation for youth and artisans during and after construction, and its governance will be inclusive and transparent and long-term returns through hospitality, tourism, and real estate. Now, the role of the Timbers Board, lastly, as I have tried to describe, the Pan-African city is envisaged to be more than the building projects. The Executive Council of the Institutes wants it to be a world-class complex that drives our mission of education in Pan-Africanism, policy engagements around within Africa, and of course, beyond Africa, between Africa and the rest of the world. And of course, project implementation across the continent. To realize this novel dream, the Council has brought professionals here gathered into the tenders board to constitute this board. We are entrusting to you, members of the tenders board, one of the most dangerous and consequential responsibilities. In our institutional history, your role is to oversee the tendering, procurement, and contracting processes associated with the construction of this, ensuring that every step is guided by transparency and professionalism, and of course, accountability. The integrity of this process will determine not only the quality of the infrastructure we build, but also the moral strength of the institution that we continue to shape on a daily basis. I have full confidence, therefore, in your competence and of course your commitment. Let your integrity be your compass, let your excellence be your standard, and let the greater vision of the united, self-reliant Africa be your ultimate motivation. And I urge you to bring to this task a real combination of diligence, discipline, and discernment. Together, let us not just construct building of bricks and mortar, but to raise a monument of meaning, so that where scholars, leaders, and communities will converge to rethink and renew Africa's destiny. The Pan-African city must stand as a beacon of excellence, built on the foundation of love for Africa and foresight for Africa's development. As you commence your work, of course you have commenced your work, know that the eyes of history are upon you. Your performance will not only determine the success of this project, but also set a precedent for how Zimbabwe will undertake our future development initiatives across the continent. Therefore, on behalf of the Executive Council of the Pan-African Dialogue Institute, and by the authority vested in me, I'd like to here and now present to you, members of the tenders board, to the distinguished chairman of today's occasion, an appropriate time to inaugurate you, to continue your work as members or chairman and members of the tenders board of an African Dialogue Institute. Once again, congratulations, and I thank you for your readiness to work. Thank you, and God bless you.